Welcome to the Atlanteans, a podcast about Warmachine and the Iron Kingdoms, created by the Hampton Roads Atlantean gaming community. And now to our hosts. Welcome to episode 4. This episode was previously recorded by Alec and I during a live stream, so occasionally you'll hear us talk to and answer questions from chat. This episode was recorded in the lead up to Nova Open. Thank you much for listening, and now on to the recording.
So, as I mentioned on my Facebook posts, I am trying to get ready to be fully painted for the Nova Open, which is going to be in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to be trying to be, I think, one of the only Menoth players that's playing Menoth there. So I'm hoping to make it.
So you're one of the only Menoth players that are going to be playing Menoth there?
Well, yeah, because I'm assuming there's other former Menoth players or current Menoth players that are going to be playing newer factions.
Gotcha.
I am a dying breed. So Lord Dragon Master says, you are a dying breed. Hopefully I am a breed that's about to get some really good stuff with maybe some Zoo Menoth. But we will see. I might be completely wrong with that.
Let's go.
And if that's the case, that's the case. I'll just play my faction until it dies. Or until I get Gravediggers.
Yeah. Until you get Gravediggers, right?
I mean, don't get me wrong, Gravediggers look fun, but I've been playing Menoth for 19 years now, and I really don't feel like starting a faction. Don't get me wrong, I know I own almost all the rest of the factions. Or actually, not anymore. I've been selling them. But for a long time there, just like you, Jay, I owned almost everything.
Yeah, I didn't own everything for every army, but I owned every army for a while.
Yeah, I was more of a completionist. I wanted to own, like, once I would get
do that.
one faction completely set, I would go to the next one. Trying to make sure that I am on screen, so if you guys are not seeing any issues, or if you are seeing issues, let me know. Let's see. Oh, so Lord Dragon Master, I should explain. So when I moved from the United States to Germany a few years ago, the movers decided to break most of my Menoth. I then painted and did all that work and did all the tournaments over there, and I was fully painted, and it was great. And I thought, it's never going to happen again, because I have all of the painting and all of the foam. So on the way back to the United States, the movers, or I should say before we moved back to the United States, the movers took my miniatures out of the foam, and they wrapped them up in paper, and they put them in boxes. And then they shoved the foam flat in the boxes so they could make everything fit a little easier. They then took 45-pound plates, and they put them in boxes. And then when they were loading the crates to move everything back, they put the 45-pound plate boxes over all my miniature boxes. So what should have been about 8 feet tall worth of miniature boxes maybe was 1.5 feet. And I had a lot of broken minis. A lot. Actually, Jay saw just the huge amount of broken minis. And when I finally went through a phase, I had to kind of readjust in life, we'll say. I started fixing miniatures, and I started using some of the insurance money to buy more miniatures. And yeah, so now I'm painting more. And I'm just going to keep painting until, I don't know, until Zoo Menoth comes out, and then I'll start painting them. But yeah, so I have been fully painted for my faction 3 times in my life, and each time a move happened, and I was not fully painted anymore. But you can see my dedication to the faction, that I was like, oh, it's okay, I'm gonna just paint it all again, and hopefully paint it better. But Jay, why don't you, if we're doing well on your end, why don't you tell me what is going on and what you are painting? Because everyone knows I'm painting.
Well, I'm not painting right this second. I'm sort of looking at my models and being disgusted with myself. I was painting earlier today, and I'm just not happy with how they're looking. But
Does your stuff look better than mine?
well, I don't know about
Well.
that. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you're happy with your stuff, aren't you?
Well, yes, but
So then I don't think it looks better than yours.
I have a joke that I was about to say, but probably shouldn't say that joke.
Yeah.
No, actually, I really should go with what Dallas Kemp taught me years ago. That just be happy with what you can do, and you can always go and change it or upgrade it in the future.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm planning to play. Okay, so we're going to Nova Open, and we're prepping our armies and figuring out what we want to do for the different events we're in and things. And then I'm going to be playing in the Thursday night unlimited event, and then the Friday I'm going to be playing in the regular 100-point steamroller tournament, not the IGQ that all of our rest of our players from the community are going to be playing in, including Alec. Mm-hmm. And then we'll be doing our Siege event, the second running of it, at Nova on Friday night. And then Saturday, if I can get into the King of Coins, I'll play in King of Coins. If not, I'll be playing in the narrative event. And so the primary army I'm going to be playing for Friday and Saturday is going to be Winter Corps. And that's what I'm currently painting right now. And they're just... I'm trying to paint them to too high a level, or I'm not happy with the transitional phase my army's in. I don't know what it is. I'm just not really enjoying it. I guess I'm not as panicked as I should be to get it done yet. And maybe once, next week hits, or this weekend when we do have the painting day at JD's, maybe that'll change. But right now, yeah, I do too. But I just am not motivated enough to get them done yet.
So would you say you're going,
No, I should be. I should be. I have a lot of models to do in a very short period of time. So last week...
explain that joke to people?
So today with the update, some cards in the Mark IV armies got some of their...
Mark III too.
Well, it's all Mark IV.
Fair enough.
But across the board, the text for Repo 3 was replaced with the letter A capitalized in a long stream. So, it's been fixed. But, yeah, I'm kind of I should be feeling that, but I'm really not yet. And I'm sure I will. But I'm not yet.
I feel like Wednesday night it's going to hit you.
Oh,
not this one, not tonight, but
no, not Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, it's gonna hit you. You're just gonna.
It better hit me. It better hit me before then, because by Wednesday night I'll be like, what can I do to minimize the unpainted stuff and make it look finished? That's what's gonna happen next Wednesday night.
Let's be honest, kind of doing that right now.
Yeah, well, that's what I should be doing, but I'm not yet. Hopefully soon. But yeah, so that's so I'm working on that, but I pulled out all my Grimkin, which I'm going to be playing Thursday night. And except for like one or two little touch-ups I need to do, they look amazing. I'm just like, God, my Winter Corps look terrible compared to this army. And I don't think they do. I think the Winter Corps, when they're done, are painted to a higher level than the Grimkin do, but the Grimkin are done and they look good, and they're in a cohesive scheme, and I'm not feeling like I'm reinventing the wheel every time I paint a new unit. So
Lord Dragon Master said that I need to get better movers. So I don't have a choice in my movers. The army gives me movers, and I have to just deal with it, which is not always great.
Yeah.
I think the next thing I'm going to do to upgrade like my painting is get a better chair. Right now I'm in the kitchen chairs. And, I think I need to get one of like the office chairs that goes up and down and support.
Yeah. I find that those break too quickly for me, but I'm also a big person, so I prefer a more sort of like a sturdy, solid chair. Maybe not like a necessary kitchen chair, something with some padding and cushion, but I think things will be a lot better for you after you have your back surgery, too.
Yeah.
Which will probably help.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into that heavy on stream, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had to get further blood work tests today, which may or may not delay all of that.
Oh, boy.
Because reasons.
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 Yeah.
Oh, man.
Makes sense.
Save your back. So, Lord Dragon Master, I really hurt my back. I'm not going to go into it heavy, but I really did some bad stuff to my back in 2011. And since then, I've just been doing minor things here and there, trying to cope along to maybe I wouldn't have to get my back fused. And turns out I was wrong. And well, I was hoping for better science, better technology, and there is better technology. It's just really, really expensive. So I have to just kind of bite the bullet and accept what it is now, which is going to be 6 of my vertebrae fused, maybe less.
Yeah.
We'll see. So Lord Dragon Master says, "Oh, don't loan stuff to Ice King. Can't trust that guy. I don't think he's even a real king. He's a king in my heart." Jay, did I tell you that my joke at Nova is going to be, I'm going to be like, "Oh, have anyone seen my son, the Ice King? He's around here because, we're both bald. And he has a mustache, and I have a mustache, except I also have an epic beard."
And he's like twice your height.
He's not twice my height. He's maybe 3.5 inches tall. By the way, I've lost 2 inches since I broke my back. Thank you very much. That sucks.
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Yeah. Let's get into what we're supposed to be talking about today.
Right. So, what do we want to start with? Do we want to talk about developments of what's been going on in the Warmachine community? Do we want to talk about the Nova Open and what armies we're bringing and stuff we're going to be playing? Or do we want to talk about what we have left to paint? I mean, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to start with?
Let's start with, should we be sharing our list for the Nova Open? The lists aren't locked yet.
I mean, you don't have to, you can just talk about generals. Like, I don't care. I'm not going. So let's see the tournaments I'm signed up for. The Thursday night event, me and JD are the only people in Longshanks as of right now for Thursday night.
I just haven't submitted my list.
There's So actual people in Longshanks, me and JD are the only 2 of 6 people that are actually in it as of right this second for Thursday night.
Okay. Well, I'm doing that.
So we're traveling along. We're traveling several hundred miles to play each other like we do every week. In fact, like we're doing tomorrow.
So I'm actually doing a Thursday night.
Okay.
I'm going to get there probably between noon and 2 on Thursday. Check into the hotel, unload the vehicle. So I have Thursday night. Then I have Friday morning, I have the Iron Gauntlet qualifier.
Yep.
Friday evening, I'm helping you run the Siege of Scars wall.
Yep.
Then Saturday, I have the Menoth coin, so I will be at the King of Coins until I get knocked out.
Yep.
At which point in time, I am probably going to try to sneak over to the narrative event, which I have also paid for, and do the 5v5. And that's Saturday. Then Sunday, if I do well enough in the I don't think we're doing anything Saturday night. Is there a late night Saturday?
We're gonna go out to dinner.
Yeah, we're all going out to dinner. And then if I do well enough in the Iron Gauntlet qualifier, I play on Sunday, and maybe Menoth makes a good showing at the qualifier. I'm hoping so. So right now, I've been working on 2 main lists.
Okay.
One of them is with Resnick 2, which is, of course, one of the Menoth casters. He is a
cheater.
He is one of the warcasters. He is a Cav model, as well.
He's a cheater.
He's not a cheater.
So Alec and I played, and I faced him for the first time. He's been playing his other list against me up until now, which we'll talk about in a minute. But he played against my Winter Corps and trounced me. And I felt at one point like there was no reason to continue playing. Actually, very early on. I was playing the wrong list into him, but because I wanted to try my other list, but it was not a good time.
Like it's so I've been a very competitive player for years. I also do love narrative. I love doing all the great narrative play. I run a lot of narrative stuff, but if I'm gonna really get some time to dedicate to it, I go hard into tournaments, and I will read everybody's lists and memorize everybody's models, and that's what I do. So then I try to look at my lists and how can I possibly, with two separate lists, figure out how to go against everybody else's list. So my first list is Resnick. It has 2 Judicators, which some people think are broken. Some people think they are underpowered. I personally think they are underpowered. My co-host Jay here will tell you that he thinks they are way overtuned. I figure we split the difference and we just keep them where they are at.
I've already submitted comments about how overtuned they are. So
yeah, but see, I think with that you can submit the. But if I don't do well at the gauntlet, no one's going to care.
Oof.
So that's where that is. I mean, it's the reality of the situation. Why should they put power towards one dude doing one list? Yeah.
Because if they gain popularity, suddenly people will be crying foul.
How many people are going to jump back into Protector of Menoth, find a Resnick, find 2 Judicators, and then get Bastions and Errants and all the support?
The rest of it doesn't matter. The first 3 things is the problem.
I mean, the other, if you ask Rich, the fact of him having to deal with Bastions is he just thinks those things are just horrible, or not horrible. He thinks they're horrible to go into.
I know what they do. They haven't changed.
They haven't.
I know how to do it. You can work around them. The fact that you can make your Judicators blessed and magical with a 2-cost spell is a problem, and then your feet nuking the entire world is the problem.
I call it popcorn, which it kind of is, because it also gets around blast damage, which is amazing.
Well, the funniest thing is that it's probably not even as powerful as your other list.
Oh no, yeah. So my other list, which actually people think is more powerful, I don't know. We'll see how it does. Involves Krios 2.
Another broken caster.
Yeah, another broken caster, according to
Yep.
And so it's him, a Vigilant, a Shrine of the Lawgiver, which is why I'm painting it, 2 Reclaimers, 2 Errants. So it's actually going to be these guys, 2 Errant Seneschals, Bastion Seneschal, High Exemplar Gravis. And then here's the meat and potatoes of the list, really. It's 2 units of Bastions, 3 units of Exemplar Errants, and 3 units of Knights Exemplar.
And how many models is that total?
Just a few, like maybe a little bit more than 30-ish.
That all have tough and magical, and
they do,
and are all weapon masters.
So most of
and
them
that you can bring back.
And so most of them are weapon masters. Almost all of them are magical blessed in some form or another, either on their crossbows or on their weapons or on their shields or whatever. Actually, I don't like anywhere.
And what happens when I kill one of them to my model that killed it? With either a melee attack, a magic attack, or a ranged attack?
So if you are able to kill one, so first, as long as they are within, a certain distance, they have tough no knockdown. But I mean, that also depends on my other solos and how I have everything positioned. If I have everything positioned right, they have tough no knockdown.
Okay, and if I succeed in killing one, or I snipe one and you can't tough?
If you succeed in killing one and you are not a caster, which is keyword that says, your opponent's caster, or
a leader,
caster, warlock,
their
leader model.
Yep.
Then you possibly get knocked out, and by possibly I mean there are a lot of things that still have steady, sturdy, And yeah. So if you do kill one of my things, you will possibly get knocked down. And then with the Shrine of the Lawgiver, I am able to bring them back. And then with these guys right here, the cool thing, so these little guys, they can also get souls. So they get souls, and the shrine gets souls.
For those people listening on YouTube that can't see, what are you talking about?
Oh, right now I'm talking about the Shrine of Lawgiver, which I was showing earlier on the stream.
And then these little guys are?
And then these little guys are Reclaimer Gatekeepers, which I just used to call Reclaimers, but they got a name change going from Mark III to Mark IV. And all of those things get souls. And during my maintenance phase with the Shrine of the Lawgiver, I can take up to 3 souls off of it, and I can bring back 3 warrior models before the maintenance or during the maintenance phase.
Mm-hmm.
Then when these guys, anytime during their activation, they can take souls and transfer them.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do, or at least I won't go too far into my strategy. My strategy is always to keep souls, because they don't have to give up their souls. They could hold them, is to keep transferring souls kind of back to back to back to the shrine. So the shrine just keeps putting out units so that I'm hopefully keeping them there. Now, if you have things that remove from play, I won't be able to do that system. But not as many people are focusing on that, which is where my hope of maybe my strategy works. And looks like we have another viewer here, and he says, "Death to all adjudicators and the damn choir." And that's Lost Chicken 34, who I happen to know.
Yep.
And he has gone against the double adjudicator list, and he didn't have a great time with them. He actually doesn't like the choir just because it gives a +2 damage bonus. It used to give a +2 attack, +2 damage, and I really do think they need to bring that back. But that's just me. That's a side.
That hasn't been a thing since Mark II.
I know. I still think with where our mat and our rats are, I think in a faction we do.
All your rats got +1 instead of being -1 further lower and then giving you +2 if you. Yeah.
I still think. Hey, if they want to do a +1 +2, I'd be okay with that. But I feel like
So then all your rats would drop back down by 1 then.
No. I'm saying keep the rats and mat.
No. A 3-point unit shouldn't make your rats better than Signar's elite units that cost significantly more than them.
So our rats are 5. That makes them 6.
Yep.
What do we have that's rats? Yeah, their gun mages are 7s. If not more.
The regular infantry guys were 6s, and then their leaders were 7s. But
it's the idea is that it would make them go over and beyond. Because base, not everybody would bring that choir and do all that stuff. I mean,
your army is balanced to its own power level already. My rats are 5s. My colossals is 4, and I have to spend 2 points to make it a 5. I don't want to hear it, dude.
How many people are bringing Menoth? Just saying. There was one person at WTC. There was one person at the LVO. There was one person. I forgot what the other convention is.
Okay.
No one's bringing. You think we're super powered, but the issue is nobody else does. So if we were so super powered, you would see people jumping from Mark IV or other Mark III factions into Menoth, and you would see a bigger display. Also, I'm one of the only people playing Exemplar Errors or Exemplar Interdiction. Everybody else, they're playing, well, except one person that I've been helping a little bit. He's playing my list. But the other people are playing Temple Flame Guard.
I think it's that people don't own them, and they're impossible to find.
I mean,
to the amount of models that you need.
Oh, for the Krios list, yeah, that's...
Or even just to find 2 Judicators and a Resnick.
I mean, I helped my buddy, the one who's using my list. I can't tell you how much stuff I send him already to help him out.
Okay, but can the high competitive level players do that?
Yeah, they could easily go and just find stuff. There's stuff out there. People still have them on the shelves. It's not like they threw them away. They're out there. You would just
Right. But are people selling them? Are they actively available in the secondary market? And I think the answer is no.
I think if people were to put a post that they were looking for stuff, I think they'd find more than what they thought. I mean, it's just me. But so those are my two lists. Now, Jay, you told us about you're playing Khador. What are you bringing for Khador?
So Winter Corp, I am playing Baranova and Severin. So my Baranova list is pretty set. It's Baranova, a shield, direwolf, a Mastodon, because Mastodon is the most effective jack in the army right now. It's set up for shooting. It's it's 33 points instead of 34 because I'm taking the cheap arm gun instead of the more expensive grinder. I've got the Rat 5 head, the 2 slam/knockdown shoulder guns, the cleave axe, and then I've got 2 bison solos, Carver and Big Pig, and then snipers, Volkova, and some other support solos. The unit of the support, the Empower guys. I forget what they're called off the top of my head.
You think the Mastodon is not as powerful as the Adjudicator?
I think that the Adjudicator is more point effective. So the problem is with comparing the Adjudicator to the Mastodon is that the Mastodon is strong when you have when your caster buffs ranged attacks, or you have a spell like Superiority on it that makes it mat 8 and higher speed. The Adjudicator is better just as a jack. It's got science importance. It has a better chance of hitting higher defense models, just because it's Adjudicator, not because you have a spell that makes it stronger. I think that pairing a Mastodon with a caster like Baranova, the Mastodon is probably stronger, and the fact that it has, where your jack has 4 guns and 2 melee weapons, mine has effectively 4 guns, 1 rate of fire, 2, and an axe. And I think yours is 28 points and mine's 33 to 34. Yeah. So I think the
variety there.
I think the Adjudicator is straight better for what it does. I think the Mastodon has the potential of being strong, but you need a lot of support to do it, and there's a lot of ways to get around that support. If I'm not playing a specific caster that gives its range attacks a better chance to hit, it does not hit very effectively all with its guns.
Rich says hello, by the way.
Who does?
Richard.
Richard? Oh, yeah. Hey, Richard, what's up? I think it's a very strong piece. I think it has some very hard-hitting aspects. The fact that it can be PAL 24 with range 3 and have on average 12-inch threat with superiority, 14 if you take it with Severin, and it has where you add escort on top of it. It's a very strong piece, but you need to have that backing support to make it as strong as it is. I think the Adjudicator is just strong by itself no matter which caster it's under.
Would you say that's also because people always bring the choir with it?
No, even without the choir, I think it is just... I mean, the fact that you get an extra die drop the lowest on hit and damage automatically is pretty amazing. That's just I have to cast a spell to get that on hits that costs 3 focus every turn. And that's the only caster that has that buff. None of my other casters can buff its attacks like that.
What's the power and strength on the axe?
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's 24.
Okay. What's the max I can get mine with choir bonus?
You threw at 12, right?
No. What's the max I can
23?
Yeah, that's with choir bonus.
Okay.
So everyone has their little
right, but your jack is 5 points cheaper than mine. As I'm currently. The lowest, which won't even compare to your jack, is 30, I believe. And it doesn't even compare to your jack in the ability, what the weapons can do, with the range of the guns. It doesn't even compare. I think the Judicator is straight up better for jack to jack without taking into account spells that can be used to buff them. The Judicator is straight better.
All right. So what else do you have in your list?
All right. So that's my Bar Nova list. So the Severin list as it stands right now, and I've been hemming and hawing about tweaking it and changing it. As it stands right now, it's Severin with a Mastodon. There's one Bison. There's Kruger 3. And then 2 units of Suppressors, which are shooting Man-O-War unit. A unit of the Shock Trooper Gunners, 2 units of Snipers, and then some support solos and support models. It's I don't know. It was supposed to be the army that I would play the most often, but the meta around us, I basically can't play the list because there's too much stuff that just turns off Severin's abilities, or if Severin gets too close, he's just dead. And he needs to be within 10 of effectively the enemy front line to actually affect the outcome of most, to be able to actually use his kill order and his special abilities. His feat still gives me a buff, but I haven't had a good chance to play him in several months because Orgoth that turn off the range of the guns in his units turns them down to range 7 or range 8 for the most part. So I've had to play Baranova a lot, and so I don't really understand how to play him.
Okay.
But he's in my list for the couple of armies. If there's an opportunity to play him, I will. But for the most part, I expect to be playing Baranova all weekend. Now for Thursday, I'm going to be playing Grimkin. I'm going to be playing the Child with a bunch of beasts, and some melee units and solos, and then and a corpse cart, and then I'll be playing Heretic with they pretty much are the same list. One of them has Nayslayers and the Horsemen and some recursion in it, which is the Heretic list, and it has a few less beasts. And then the Child list is pretty much all beasts supported by a couple of units and the corpse cart.
Okay.
We'll see how much I get to play that. Yeah, I mean, it's a great army. I think I'm actually playing them is because I own a jersey for them, and it's what I took last year to Nova, and so I'm going to be playing them on Thursday night just because I want to bring them out and have the excitement of getting to play different armies.
So what do you think about the fact of Iron Gauntlet going from 75 to 100? Do you think that's going to help people, or do you think that's going to hinder?
I mean, it really depends. Because I think the main Iron Gauntlet event is still 75, at least at Warfare Weekend this week. If you're going to actually go to Warfare Weekend, I think 100 points is sort of what the majority of competitive players play, and so because even though Warmachine does a lot of a variety of events, they are definitely more competitively minded. So moving the events to 100 points is for the people that the kind of games that they support, I think is definitely probably what they intended. I also think that we'll probably see it at 100 points next year because WTC is going to be after instead of before, like it was this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to see what happens with the Iron Gauntlet going forward. It seems like that they're going to be releasing the SFG is going to be releasing the casual format next year at the same time as they release SteamWorld 2025. So there'll be a competitive 100 points, but then the more casual games will be 50 and 75. So I'm hoping that we see some more variety, at least for our meta. 100's been all we've played this year, really. Where we played 75 previously. Me personally, I think I'd like to mix the game up a little bit more. I like the idea of having to pick and choose what is best, but at the same time, if all people are doing is in our community is prepping for tournaments and events and conventions and things, then playing 100 points is what makes sense. How do you feel about it?
So I would like to see Warfare Weekend go to 100 points, like for their Iron Gauntlet. I think that the older armies are way more powerful at 75. I think until everybody in 100 or at 100 points really, or no, I'm sorry, at 100 points at Mark 4, the new armies, until they all have their colossals or I should say their gargants for some of them and things like that. I feel like, and they still need some more supports. They really need to flush out those armies more. And once they all do, I think they're going to be good at 100 points.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of legacy armies can't stand up to Mark IV armies at 75 points. In fact, that was the justification that Delaware Warmachine used to push the 75 point Iron Gauntlet qualifier size up to 100 points, is because they felt like legacy armies couldn't compete with Mark IV armies.
So for me, when I was making my list, I took the idea of not even going against any Mark III armies. I specifically focused on my list for Mark IV armies, and I think they may go against Mark IV. But at 75 points, yeah, I'm ruthless because I can just overload someone and get through, especially with how very different both of my lists are. Because one is, it's not even jack spam, because at 100 points, 58 points of my stuff is jacks, or 56. Now at 75, I'm a little bit worse on scenario, but when it comes to attrition and when it comes to actual gameplay, I can just crush. If you saw, well, you saw at the Siege of Scarswall, I ran tournament lists. I mean, they were slightly modified, but the main justification or the main stuff that things were doing were my tournament lists, and I was able to.
But were you playing into tournament lists? I don't think you were.
Taylor's was.
No, you would never take a. I would argue that you would never take a Garlgast even at 100 points in a tournament list. Not as the rules currently are. Yeah, no, you weren't playing into any tournament lists at all.
Okay.
Yeah, you wouldn't take I don't think any of those armies would take a huge base model. I mean, maybe Joe's Scorn, but he wasn't even on the table. So.
Yeah, Joe was not. Well, I was looking at the Brine Blood Colossal.
Yeah. No. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Mark IV armies would be great with Colossals, but I don't think that at 75 points except for you maybe just because the Judicator is your most efficient jack. So taking two of them, especially because they're only 28 points and you can take two for 56 points, stick a choir on it, stick a couple of support models, a couple of units to help you score objectives. I think that there's nothing that beats that. The problem is that most armies don't have that same efficiency with their models.
Well, do you think that list would do well against Mark IV? Like newer armies?
I think that well, it depends. It depends. Is Mark IV player going first? Are they? I think you'd have a hard time into Cephalix, for example, at 75 points, because Cephalix could probably kill Adjudicator, and if they got to charge it early, and then you'd be sitting on one Adjudicator, and you'd have to basically kill his caster, and his caster has such a longer threat range than yours, especially if he was playing like the one with TK, that you'd never actually be able to get him in threat probably.
Yeah, but at that point in time, it's just slowly removing his army.
I mean, there's some of that. But
I play differently at 75 than I do at 100. Like,
I mean,
100, I will throw Adjudicator and let it get killed, and then
I mean, but that also shows you why Adjudicators are so efficient for 28 points, and why they are so powerful for 28 points. The fact that you can do that, the fact that you can just eliminate models every turn like that and stay far enough away that they can't threat you back is a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, stuff like does he threat you with Tyrus and use Tyrus's feat and give his cats Weapon Master and charge through your Colossal and kill your caster? I mean, it depends on threats. It depends on depends on the table and if he can hide stuff from your Adjudicators.
I think it also matters that most people haven't gone against Adjudicator in Mark 4. So few people are playing.
I mean, I think our meta has seen them quite a bit, and we all struggle against them. I think that's still, and some of us are playing some of the strongest armies that are available right now, and we're still struggling against them.
I think me going up to Nova, I think some of those people are going to be like, "Wait, the Adjudicator does what?"
Yeah,
you play it, and just like,
yeah. I mean, that's the problem.
All my strategies, but there's ways of how I know how to play. Heck, Richard has done it where he knows that. He's like, all right, so I know this is the threat. And I was like, actually, I can get past that by doing other things. And then stuff goes sideways. I mean, the Magical Bless from Resnick also really helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Making all of his attacks. But then again,
for 2 points, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, but compared to what Resnick could have been if they would have just pulled him directly from
I don't want to hear it, dude.
he would have been rough.
Yeah. At the beginning of Mark 3, at the beginning of Mark 4, they were trying to balance the armies, and they were doing a good job. And then the Mark 4 stuff started coming out, and it's just been a power creep forward since then.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm not complaining. I've seen I've played against my son's Chimera, and Chimera are rough. Richard says, for example, Grim can need 100 points to properly use the death knell 75 points.
Yep.
Or 74 games. It's hard to fit it in there. I definitely agree with him on that.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about legacy armies is that they need a lot of specific pieces to play, and at 75 points, especially for a Hordes army where you have to take like 30 or 40 points of beasts to be able to have enough fury for your caster to be able to function throughout the game, that taking a 15 or 16 point model on top of that, and then having to try to take infantry and solos to be able to play missions is rough, especially at 75.
Yeah. All right, so those are our lists for what we're bringing up to Nova. Those are the games playing at Nova. Is there anything else you're looking forward to seeing or doing at Nova? Are there any friends you have that also run games? Have you heard about anyone from SFG being there that you were hoping to possibly bring onto the podcast or chat or anything like that?
Well, there's a rumor that Matt Hart's going to be there, but really for me, I just want to go and be surrounded by people playing Warmachine. I want to have a chance to play against other people that I haven't played against. I want to see cool-looking armies. I want to see cool armies playing on cool-looking terrain, and basically just enjoy the idea of a community larger than ours that we have to constantly struggle to keep going. I mean, I think we're at a point where we're running pretty efficiently and people are out pretty regularly, but I think it'll just be nice to actually go and see, meet, and talk to the larger community in our area.
Okay. I think that definitely.
I mean, that's what recharged my batteries by going even just for a day last year. And I think that's something I definitely need right now. Is I'm definitely feeling burnt out and exhausted, and I definitely need to have the experience of interacting with the larger community and seeing that Warmachine is healthy and people are out playing games, and that it's not just a constant struggle all the time. How about you? What are you excited about for Nova?
So I am definitely excited to get out there and see people and interact with people. I haven't been to a major convention since Germany. I didn't get to go the first few years we were here just because we were settling in and other stuff. So I'm very excited to go out there and really get some high level tournament play, or even on narrative events just to get some fun in.
Yep. I'm definitely looking to see what their narrative event's going to be like on Saturday. It's supposed to be 5v5 in the Five Fingers, I believe.
Yes. And yeah, I'm actually still working on my cosplay for that. I don't like how the mask is turning out, so I'm going to have to go back to Tinkercad. Technically, it's not Tinkercad. It's Fusion 360. And I was thinking Tinkercad just because the kids, but it's Fusion 360. Work on that mask again. Because it's just front and then a small circlet on top that the front of the mask attaches to.
Gotcha.
And to people who haven't seen or heard the previous podcasts, I am going as Dad Bod Amon. So
or in other circles, Fat Amon.
Fat Amon. It's probably more accurate, to be honest. But I like calling him Dad Bod Amon, just because that's kind of where I am right now physically. I think it'd be humorous to see if I can properly portray. I also don't have the time nor the resources to try to bring out Tristan, because using Tristan would be awesome.
Well, when you have your army and you're at Nova next year, you can be Tristan then.
Oh yeah, if Zoom Enough comes out, I'll be Tristan.
Well, there's no way that Zoom Enough won't be out by next year this time. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is a chance that it won't happen, but it would be crazy not to have them out as soon as possible.
Lost Chicken says, I'm super excited to see a wide variety of players from other metas that I've only seen on stream, and all different play styles and awesome painted armies. I agree. I can't wait to see all the painted armies. Armies on the March, or I don't think they call theirs army. That's from
Armies on Parade is the GW
Armies
term.
on Parade. Yeah. I know each convention has their own way of phrasing it. But I can't wait to see all the fun painted armies.
Yep.
I mean, I know I don't have to be fully painted to go to this event, but
right.
I want to be fully painted to go to this event.
Me as well.
If I can get everything fully painted, I might actually redo all my basing, make them all match, because none of them match. But I need to be fully painted before I think about basing them.
Yep.
So good.
I need to. Hopefully, I'll get all of mine to a point where I can put the snowflock on all their bases, so all of mine match as well.
I'm probably just going to honestly do Scorched Earth. I feel like Menoth is not fighting on green fancy fields like I used to in days past. I feel like it is all just dark Scorched Earth.
Gotcha.
And I was going to do Sand, but I feel like Sand just doesn't do it either. Like Sand would be them defending Immer or something like that. I feel like no, they're on the march. They're going to bring the faith to others, one way or another.
Makes sense.
Hopefully not. I guess you can't see me. If I go off screen, let me know. That's to Lost Chicken, which is friend Richard.
Yep.
Who I like to call Rich, and he hasn't corrected me yet to call him Richard. So until he does, I'm gonna occasionally call him just see what he says. Now that he's paying attention. But wait a second, my name isn't Rich; it's Richard. Oh, he also says, by the way, they need to make a big pig train again.
Oh,
humorous. Are you bringing Big Pig?
I am.
Is that one in your list?
Yeah, it's in my bar novelist. I'm actually going to paint him at JD's on Saturday.
Gotcha. I think I am going to be one of the very few people that has 0 big picks.
Well,
Don't get me wrong. I own 2.
Yeah, I mean, I got to get the use out of him before he gets nerfed in January.
Oh, absolutely. He is. I bet you he's 24 to 25 points, and they pull stuff from him.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess 25 points and
tweaked.
Tweaked.
Not nerfed.
I think he'll have his guns will go down to a similar stat line as the suppressors and the Kador version of his gun. The range 10 instead of range 10 instead of range 12 base, PAL 12 instead of PAL 13. Yeah. So that things like the Orgoth's spell actually affects him a lot better.
Gotcha.
Nerfs him.
Oh, you mean Windstorm?
Yeah. I also think that batten down the hatches needs to be removed, but according to Richard, actually, it's a thing that's from old Carver and isn't something that's going to change.
Yeah, they're not going to pull that. That's been on him for a while.
Then his armor needs to go down to like 17 base instead of 19.
I don't see that happening either. I mean,
arm 22 every turn with 35 damage boxes is not a realistically fair.
You're talking about on Pig.
On Pig, yeah, I think Pig's armor should go down to 17. I don't think Carver is fine the way he is. Carver isn't really the problem. I mean, I guess in higher level play, he can be used as a scoring model for things. But for the average player, he's not really the threat. He's good if you're able to kill Pig, he becomes a super solo. But, that can do things, but the threat of him dying it's a lot easier to kill him than it is to kill Big Pig. Especially because the fact that Big Pig tends to use all 5 Fury every turn.
He does. Again, Lost Chicken, which is Rich, he did confirm what I said, where that Carver has had that for forever. And yeah, they're not going to take that from him. That'd be like taking, I was going to say Lamentation from Krios, but he has only had it in one iteration.
Right. That used to be a, what's he spell? Severius' spell. Yeah.
Man, Ashes to Ashes, like that, he is at Ashes to Ashes on every
yeah.
Every time. Man, I still
they keep nerfing it, so.
They do. Man, I don't know if you saw, they took awareness away from Sevi too. Which makes me sad. I don't know if you remember awareness.
I don't.
So awareness was everything in the caster's battle group can see through anything. Forests, clouds. Now you could still get your cover bonus, but I could see anything. And that was, I used to run Sevi 2 with 2 Judicators
they balanced it to get rid, because they're trying to balance Judicators at the beginning of Mark 4.
No, this was during Mark 2.
Well, okay.
I used to do that.
We're talking about Mark 4 though, right?
Oh, I know. Well, I think the reason they did it is just, I don't think they were worried about Judicators, because again, I don't think very few people were running it. But what they were able to do is they stripped so much from Sevi 2. They took away his ability to cast free spells, the ability of his staff, like they took so much of it. But what he used to do, I don't know if you remember, he would put up Blessing of Vengeance behind a forest. So not in a forest, but behind it. Awareness would go off. Obviously, you had that 16 inches, so he'd be up pretty far anyways. And then you would do a free cast of Ashes to Ashes, which instead of being 10-10 is a 12-12. Then you're going to boost it, and you'd be ignoring intervening models, you'd be ignoring all of that stuff, and you would just nuke characters like solos that they needed, or units that they needed. Or if they were stupid enough, you would have him get up there and just nuke a caster. And I used to do that, and it was mean. Like, I would actually have him occasionally. I did this in Mark III. I would have him run first turn, or I'd have him, so he'd get in position, and then second turn I have him run again, and he'd be directly outside 2 inches of something, but he would still be within 10 inches of their caster, and I would just unload with 4 ashes to ashes. And 4 ashes to ashes.
How would you do that after running?
No. So the Sevi didn't run. The Arc Node still operates when running.
Yeah.
So Blessing would run, get within 10 inches of their caster. I would have awareness go off, and then I would just nuke their caster to death. And it was a turn.
And that was fun because?
I mean, it was one of the few ways you could win as Menoth. You had to work with the tools you had. I mean, do you remember having? See, the thing is, I could do that as player 1 going turn, a first player going turn 2, or even sometimes, second player going turn 2. Because by the time turn 3 came around, I was going to have to worry about Haley 3's feet, or not her feet, Haley 2's feet. Sorry, Haley 2's feet. And then, yeah, that's how it is. And there were other ones too that used to do it, like having to deal with some of the Infernals. I had to go for a quick knockout instead of a game of attrition, because if it went into attrition, I mean, you had to know your army or your list at that time. And I knew Menoth, and that was one of the ways you could do it. Just like during Mark II, doing double Judicators and Fiora. That's what you had to do because it worked. And yeah, I know how to play my factions. I mean, I know some people don't think I play my faction the right way. I think I do.
I think you're doing fine with your faction. I argue that I think a lot of the reason that people don't play your army is because they're not fun to play against the way they have to be played to be successful. Because everything you just talked about there is something I would never want to play with on an average day. Never.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing of there's a acquaintance of mine who used to go and play, and he would just kill his opponent by clocking him. Because he would make his opponent do so many attacks that you would get clocked to death. And you want to talk about a not fun game. Because, it starts with, you've ever been going into something and clocked yourself, and you don't realize what you're playing into. It's like, you're like, oh man, I'm killing this piece, I'm killing this piece, I'm killing this piece, this is great. I'm just grinding through his army. And you're not looking at 5 minutes to get down, 10 minutes, or, until you're getting down to those last 4 minutes, and you realize you have killed so much of his army. You have pulled so many of the points. And then you realize you're still going to lose. Because if you don't, he'll be at, 60 minutes. Not 60 minutes, we'll say 45 minutes. And you're at 5. And suddenly when you're at that point, you realize I did all this damage. I did this great stuff. I'm controlling these zones. And you realize that, shoot, I've lost. Because now he can play scenario and you just have to clock over to him. Or you're going to clock yourself because you don't have a chance at a caster assassination. You don't really have a chance at zones because he's going to now be able to remove your stuff from zones at will and take time to think about it because he has so much time. And yeah, that's not fun. I mean, it's not fun where Infernals would kill a solo, bring it in, and then just kill you. And you're just like, kill a solo, bring in a horror. Bring in a horror and just kill you with it. And that was rough. Going into Infernals in Mark III, that was not a fun place. Going into Grimkin. I've had Grimkin in Mark III. Sorry, go ahead.
The beast couldn't kill you the turn it came in.
You're right. It would kill you the next turn. But they would bring
it could make an attack if you ancillary attacked it, but you couldn't do its action the turn it arrived.
You're right. But I was just thinking about they would sneak a solo what's her name?
I played Infernals. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the Nicaea with I forgot what her name is now. Blanked on it. The Lone Wolf. She was Menoth. So she had acrobatics, and so what you would do is you'd have her charge past a block of infantry, or run past a block of infantry, and move on back. And you realize you couldn't turn your entire army around to deal with her, and then the horror would come in, the heavy would come in, and then you're like, well, that's great. I can't kill it one turn. Next turn, it's going to get fully powered.
Really? Okay. I never experienced that. If I did something like that, it would be dead by the next turn. Because horrors were too much of a glass cannon. I mean, they had okay armor, but they only had 2/3 the health, if that, of a regular heavy.
But when you can't get your heavies in to get into them,
but I mean,
kill them.
All you have to do is kill 2 rings of them to cripple them to the point where they're not worth using.
Yeah. I can just tell you, I've played, like, I had Harbinger killed multiple times by doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I've never, I guess in the meta that I was playing in, when I tried those kind of tactics, it would always die.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on who you're playing with and how they're playing. But yeah, that's the games of the past and how we used to play things.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at Chimera now, and yeah, they're glass cannons, but they can just take you off the board.
Like, from stupidly long ways away.
Oh yeah, yeah.
To the point where sometimes you don't even see the attack coming. I agree completely about that.
I think one of my best things is playing against my son. Learning how to play, helping him learn Chimera is what taught me how to play against them.
Yeah, I think I've played your son and one other person one time, and that's the most I've played against Chimera.
What about in the leagues on War Table?
Never. I've run into them one time in the leagues.
Oh, and
I've played 3 games total, and 2 of them were against your son, and I had to work with him to get him to play. Yeah. And the one game I did play, I lost because I was playing with Big Pig, and he was able to charge Big Pig through a forest and then kill my caster because of it.
It happens.
Yeah.
All right. So that's Nova. We know what we're painting. Oh, so my list of what I need to paint before I leave on Thursday. Let me tell you, it's a list.
Yeah. So is mine. Yeah, so my list is pretty rough. I've got several units, a Colossal, a Warjack, a Bison, Big Pig, and Carver, several solos, 2 sets of objectives.
No, this is
some
just,
defenses.
Like, some of these are painted, though, right? It's not like, from bare metal.
So everything of mine is playable except for one of the sets of objectives and Big Pig and Carver, but they're also not finished, and some of them are just like barely base coated. So I've got a lot to do.
So I have a Vigilant that is only primed. I need to finish my Shrine of the Lawgiver, which includes cutting out more to get the LEDs to work better and to get the speaker pod in there better. I need to finish 1 Exemplar Bastion Seneschal, 1 Exemplar Errant Seneschal. I need to finish both of these guys, the 2 Gatekeepers who also partially. I need to finish doing the final touches on 2 units of Exemplar Bastions. Now this is going to be fun. 1 unit of Exemplar Errants that are currently bare plastic. And then I have 1 unit of Knights Exemplar that I also need to finish up. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. You going to be able to get that done?
So my wife's taking leave this coming week.
Okay.
And in addition to doing stuff around the house, I am going to try to, like I talked with her about it, I'm going to try to just crush out the rest of these. Like, not everything's going to be perfectly painted, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm winning any painting awards. I mean, if there's an award for creativity and kit bashing, absolutely, I think I have a chance at that. And that's with the Shrine. But with everything else, I'm okay with it being tabletop quality. I'm not there to, crush anyone or do stuff like that. I would much rather my skill at the table than necessarily my ability to paint.
Yeah.
I'm out of like a 5, I think I'm a 3 for painting quality, and that's not a dig at me. That's just you, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm not expecting to win anything really. So I'm a little more trying to get my army painted and looking nice on the table, so I can see them on the table painted, and not nitpicking. Well, I didn't do that on this guy, and I didn't do that on this guy, and yeah, it's what I'm worried about.
For me, like I said, my main goal is just to play. I want to play and enjoy it, and not having to worry about someone pulling on my shirt, asking me a question or something while I'm playing. It's going to be nice. All I have to do is wake up in the morning, go work out, go have breakfast, and then go game until lunch and dinner, and then go sleep. And that's going to be nice. And then I'm actually bringing my fancy bottle of Elijah Craig to share with everybody. So in the evenings, I will have that. I even have it in my dad decanter, which I don't think you've ever seen my dad decanter.
I don't think I have, no.
It is very humorous, and I appreciate it greatly. Yeah, I will show it to you when we get there.
Sounds good.
But yeah, like I'm not even planning on drinking heavy. That was for Alec of the past.
Yeah.
When going to conventions, now it's about just having a good breakfast, playing, having fun. Like, man, I didn't even check if there's a buffet. I'm gonna kill some bacon and sausage and some pancakes. Don't have to make breakfast. You just get to show up and eat. You can't load yourself with bacon because then you're slow on the game table.
Yeah. All right. So we've been.
Rich said you should have the Shrine play "Sweet Victory" by SpongeBob. Go ahead.
All right. So, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about before we call it a night?
I'm trying to think. Oh, we didn't talk about the new things that are happening in SFG.
Yeah.
We don't have to. We can always cover that next time.
I think we should wait to see how that develops, and we should talk about that next time.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, it has been a pleasure as always doing a podcast with you, Jay.
Absolutely.
I know we heard like we normally do, but sometimes we get some people listening, sometimes we don't. Looks like right now we have 2 viewers, one of which is Rich, and I don't know where the other one is. And then earlier we did have the the Dragon Master, but I think he has headed on out. So
we will be this will be live on our YouTube channel after the video.
Yours?
Huh?
Did you have people asking any questions?
I had 1 or 2 people come in, but no one asked any questions. They just said hi. Yep. So this will be live on our YouTube channel after the video, and we will see about getting Alec's perspective up as well if we can. Also, the audio for this will be up on our Podbean account.
Sounds great. I can't wait to see everyone at Nova.
Absolutely.
And if you do see me, definitely come up, say hi. If you see a overweight guy in a mask and pants with a big chain, ball on it, that's probably me.
Yeah. Come bug us. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to answer any questions. And we may even have a little something to give away.
Oh, there we go.
All right. Thank you very much for listening. We'll talk to you guys later.